think that the history of the New Yorker points a lot to England and Ireland, and also to Paris. The magazine was started in 1925 and really was a kind of New York City thing. We have a readership of 1.5 million people in print and 1.5 million people a month online. But it was a small kind of humor and society journal when it first started, but when World War II happened, they created something called the Pony Edition, which is a very small little digest of several weeks of the New Yorker, and they would send that out to the soldiers. And they read it and they become subscribers after, and their families became subscribers, and it became a national magazine. And it's somewhat international. We're working very hard on international right now in countries that speak English. But so in those early years, I think that it was more likely than other refugee countries to be the Irish having such a strong literary heritage that was in English. So that's what became the English and the Irish separately together. And now I think you're seeing many different people from many different countries. I had a panel at this year's festival, which was fiction writers who were refugees themselves, talking about writing about refugees and being refugees. And we had a Vietnamese American, a Pakistani American, and a Haitian American. They're all fiction writers for the New Yorker. So the world gets smaller and my playing field gets bigger. But I think the New Yorker in Ireland, starting with Maeve, I think, oh gosh, so many. Ed O'Brien, my favorite fiction writer of short stories, William Trevor. I said to you about that the other day. My first festival, I thought, oh, they gave me this festival. I can do whatever I want. I'm asking William Trevor. And William Trevor famously did not fly. So we got so lucky. He was going on a boat to visit his son, who lived on the East Coast. And he came to our festival, and we had him at the Irish House at NYU with a writer who was not from Ireland, was born in America, but I thought had a similar sensibility in her fiction, which is the Indian American writer Jhumpa Lahiri. They had a similar pace to their stories, and she couldn't believe she was a very young writer, and she couldn't believe she was going to be with William Trevor. People lined up, Americans and Irish Americans lined up as he drove away in his car. I mean, the outpouring of love for him. I think he was a very quiet, shy man. I think he was stunned by it. I think there is that history, and I think it remains that history. I told you today we have an American writer of Irish descent named Patrick Radden Keefe, and he is a journalist, not a fiction writer, and he is writing about things Irish history. And New York is a place where people follow their own interests. And I think the Irish connection continues with Roddy Doyle and with Colm Toibin and with other Irish fiction writers, but also with Irish journalists, Irish American journalists now as well. So we had Seamus Heaney, and he had a call and a half hour before his talk, his interview, and his reading, and he didn't show up. And then it was 20 minutes, and then it was 15 minutes, and then it was 10 minutes, and I was starting to panic. But it was right around the corner from the hotel where he was staying, so I ran to the hotel, really freaking out. I ran to the hotel to find him. And I found him drinking with a bellman he had met at the hotel in the elevator, who was Irish-American, who was Irish. And they were just having a blast at the bar. Time had escaped them. So I said, Mr. Heaney, you have to come for your friend. He was like, oh, well, I'm bringing this fellow with me. And they came, and that was it. And that was, I think, my first Irish experience.